Welcome, everyone. We're continuing with our Blabathon to the SM Mastery. Here you're going to see a continued sneak peek into the conference and the experts that are going to be speaking there. We're doing just 20 to 30-minute interviews to show you a little bit more about who they are and what they're going to be sharing on stage. Again, that's June 4th, the SM Mastery Conference here in Vancouver. So it's the second year that it's going on, which is always a great sign because it means the first year was good enough to do it a second time. And of course, with it being social media, things are changing constantly. You could probably have one every quarter, if not every 6 months or so. So looking forward to all the new things that people are going to be sharing at this year's event. So for the next 10 days, we're talking to the experts and a few, we're going to do a couple panels as well, and show you a little bit more about who's going to be on stage, what they do, who they, what they're going to be teaching you essentially. And not only that, but the experts are, that you're seeing in these interviews are actually going to be at the event, and whether they're there all day or at the after party and lunch and learn, an opportunity to kind of rub elbows with them. So today we're lucky enough to have our special guest, Shane Gobson. Welcome, Shane.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So Shane, you're going to be one of our featured speakers, correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so what is it? What is your topic, and what can people expect from you?
The general topic that the area that I was asked to talk about at the conference is the strategy component for the Social Media Mastery Program, and I'm really going to delve into what I like to call becoming an exponential influencer as a brand. And really what that means, now everyone's a brand, so this is great for an individual. Like, I'm an individual who's built a personal brand through what I would consider online thought leadership. But then it also works really well for a car dealership, for instance, and or a bank, or a not-for-profit. So the principles apply across the board. I've worked in all kinds of sectors, from small to medium-sized to very large enterprises. In fact, one of my clients, as well as a sponsor for the event, I'm actually in their dealership right now, which is Autoform. And you can see there's a few Porsches in the background and whatnot, and we're doing the broadcast from here. At the event, there's a great example of thought leadership, or being able to market yourself or expand your brand, is organizations like this getting involved and engaging community through social networks. And so I'm really going to delve into how you or your business can build a magnetic brand. And what I talk about magnetic is really about attracting business to you versus having to go out there and hunt all the time. And so that's kind of the gist of it. But I'm going to get into specifically in the strategy and the process used to do that. Excellent. So for those that don't know you, I know I've seen you around town, and you hit a few stages here and there. So can you tell us a little bit more about yourself and what kind of led you to this? Sure. I've been a professional speaker trainer for 22 years. I've worked literally now on 4 continents with clients in sales performance, social selling. Done a lot of keynotes, a lot of in-depth boot camps. And that's what I do. I've written 3 books, co-authored 3 books actually. The first one was Closing Bigger. I co-authored with Captain Trevor Green. The second one was Sociable, which was one of the first books on social media for salespeople and entrepreneurs that Stephen Jagger and I wrote way back in the dawn of social media civilization, which was 2009. And then in addition to that, I co-authored with my good mentor and late friend, Jay Conrad Levinson, the book Guerrilla Social Media Marketing. So my background is heavy-duty sales performance, sales training, combined with social media marketing. And so that kind of makes me a bit unique, is that I'm both a promoter and a community builder, but I'm also a closer. And so that's kind of what I do.
Yeah, and by the sounds of it, a little bit of an OG there, a little bit of an original social media gangster.
Yeah, definitely. Back in the day, I actually started podcasting or blogging in 2002 and podcasting in 2004.
Yeah.
And then LinkedIn was the real social network I joined. And then that was the first one. And then, of course, along came Twitter, Facebook, and things kind of evolved. So that's how I got into the space. And I actually started doing social media strategy for my sales training clients. So I've done sales training. That's great. We've done sales training. Our guys know how to negotiate. They know how to close. we want you to teach us how to do what you did to land us as a client. We found you on the web, we listened to your podcast, we engaged you on Twitter. So teach us how to do that. And so that's how I got into it. Was I'm a sales guy originally, and then use the tools to grow my own business. And then my sales training clients, everybody from certified management accountants, which is now CPA, to Ford, to individual entrepreneurs is kind of how I started off.
Yeah, that's awesome. And good to see you took your background, took your strengths, and then listen to the people that you're talking to and add to that. Is that your background or mine? Can you hear that?
Music?
No, there's a little bit of an echo there. So
okay.
It just showed up. So I don't know. I'm not too sure.
No, I hear you perfectly.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, no, good. It sounds like you've been responsive to essentially what your tribe has been asking for, right?
Yeah, and I think the key piece, one of the things I'm going to talk about is in the session is really defining. We all talk about that you should be a thought leader. Like we hear that, you should be a thought leader, you should build community. Okay, so what does that look like? What are the three big pieces of establishing yourself as a thought leader? And being an expert doesn't mean you're a thought leader. And being an online brand doesn't mean you're an expert, right? And so how do we put it all together and actually build something that's truly magnetic and valuable in the marketplace? And so that's what I'm really going to dig into. There's other people who would dig into things like Matt Astafan is going to talk about conversions, and he's a real conversion expert. In fact, one of the reasons why I did a joint venture with him recently to build a product was that I wanted to learn what he did, because I build these really good community, and I've got tons of great connections, and I have business coming in. With that said, Matt is incredible at converting quality traffic to actually quality clients. And so I think what's cool is that Ricky Shetty has put this conference together in a way that he's picked people who are good in their areas of expertise. And I think that all together, my piece is really important, but when you combine it with the other stuff, the full package is really what I'm excited about. And so, I get to sit back and learn from other people at the event as well.
Yeah, I think I agree with you 100%. The individuals themselves are going to be providing such value, but as a package, from morning through to the after party. I know Di is on as well. He's taking care of the after party. So right through there, all of that is going to make the information just that much more cohesive.
The one responsible for the drink tickets.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, I'm going to have to warm up to him over the next.
There you go. Yeah. He's he'd probably give them away pretty easily because he doesn't drink. So at least get his.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, at least have two. That's fantastic.
So as far as you kind of mentioned how people could benefit from a personal level, but is someone who's a social media manager who's considering that, is this something that's going to, or how is it best going to benefit them?
Absolutely. I think for my particular talk, it's vital for a social media manager. And because it's going to not just, because they hear that they need to build community. They know they have to engage people. They're also responsible on a soft level of creating an audience that will eventually convert to business. And so what I'm going to go through is really a step-by-step process of what are the three key components, which is creating and curating great content, having really relevant conversations, and building community. And if you combine those three things, that establishes us as a thought leader, providing we have a level of expertise in the area that we're actually working on. And so, thought leadership for a vehicle company is different than an author, is different than an IT company. But the key capacity is we'll walk specifically through best practices in each of those areas, and they'll walk away with a little bit of a game plan. I mean, it is a keynote talk. It's not a boot camp. But with that said, they're going to get a real good framework that hopefully they can plug in the other stuff they find throughout the rest of the day into it.
Yeah, no, that's.
I mean, I think that the thing about social media management is that, one of the things for me that was really important is although it's not what I would call the most grand type of work that you could do, I make a habit of hands-on managing clients' social media with them, at least one or two at any given point. One of the reasons why is that it keeps me in the trenches. It's not something I did 5 years ago or 4 years ago. In fact, I did it this morning for a client. And so even though I'm out there writing books and doing talks, I'm also in the trenches dealing with the same challenges everyone else is having, whether it's a change in the Twitter algorithm or Facebook, or the fact that, hashtag contests used to work and now they don't. So what do we do now? And so this is all stuff that they're getting really realistic in the trenches stuff from me and any of the speakers at the event, because we're all doing it right now. And I think that that's a lot different than a guy who wrote a book about it 5 years ago and is still just talking about what he wrote about 5 years ago.
Yeah, no, I agree, Shane. I think that's the one thing that impressed me about this conference is, from knowing all the players and speakers involved, everyone is engaged in what it is that they're speaking of right now.
Absolutely.
Right? So it's very, very much relevant. And as I mentioned in the intro, social media is changing constantly. So, even if you haven't been doing it in the last 6 months or a year, something will have changed into, maybe not strategy 100%, but absolutely that could come in if there's something that's shifted, right?
And I think there's a difference between people mix up principles and strategy. I think that's a really key. There are some time-tested principles that Steve Jagger and I put in Sociable 7 years ago. I can't believe it's been 7 years. That today, those exact same principles of success work in social media. Now, those aren't strategies. Those are principles. Yeah. And so I will be identifying some time-tested principles as well, but I'm also specific to very current strategy. And it's an interesting marrying because people mix them up, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So just to because we are calling this kind of a sneak peek little teaser, could you give one principle, Shane, for those that are watching the Blab?
One quick what?
One quick principle?
Absolutely. I think that if I look at one key principle, I'll finish with, I'll use number 8 of 9 principles of engagement that Steve Jagger and I put together literally 7 years ago, and that was to be sociable. And sociable, we define sociable, is to not forget the end game and the goal, which is to build a solid relationship in terms of a customer. So being sociable is about using the internet to get off the internet. And I've found that, quoting Scott Heiferman from the CEO of Meetup, is that the latest trend, which is not really a latest trend, but the latest label of social selling, people think they're in a video game. They're getting LinkedIn connections that they can click through, the building lists, and they forget the most important thing is to deepen that relationship, either one-on-one through video like this, or get in person with them and build a relationship. And that's one of the fastest paths to ROI. That's really a principle. It's not a strategy. We know that when you and I meet in person at a conference once, all of your content means more on the internet to me. And that's one of the key principles of really social selling and of being sociable, is getting sociable. So that's an example of one of the key principles. Strategy might be, if you want to engage influencers, to build a top 100 influencers in a demographic, like top 100 automotive influencers, in North America. These guys might write a blog post at Autoform about them, profile them, engage them, do blab chats with them. That's a strategy, right? And that works now, but you know what? Enough people keep doing it, it won't work anymore.
Yeah.
And we'll have to find a new strategy. So strategy will change, principles remain the same in social. And so I think there's a key distinction is don't lose sight of your principles when you're executing new strategies.
Well, and I love that principle. It's perfect for, we're used to kind of doing this, looking at Blab and watching and learning webinars and those types of things. But, again, taking principle number 8 to get into that conference and engage and interact with the people that are doing it and strengthening those relationships and creating those bonds and memories and things that you can tap into later. You can only do, well, not only, but it's absolutely better served in that room, right? Like being in the conference, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. The other thing that comes to mind is a question of demographic. I know Ricky was passionate about looking to assist teenagers and kind of helping the next generation because of so many things moving to online. Who would you say this is best for demographically?
Old people. It's the again, the great thing about principles is that they work for everybody. And so there'll be a mix of that. And then your strategy is going to have to change your demographics. So I may talk about thought leadership and the core principles of the strategy will work, but you're going to need to modify it. So if you're dealing with, a young demographic, then what you're going to need to do is you're going to marry it with Snapchat and Instagram. If you're dealing with an older B2B demographic, you can use the same principles, but you might use Blab and LinkedIn as your platforms. And so I think that it's valid for everyone. I haven't had anybody come up to me ever and walk out to me and say, hey, you know what, that wasn't relevant for me because I'm 20 or because I'm 60.
Yeah, no, it's just understanding what platform and where that audience is, right? So do you get into that piece at all through strategy as to how to discover that, or? Yeah,
I mean that's the whole part of the strategy is assessing where your demographics at. And there's two thoughts is using the Wayne Gretzky analogy, right? He was so successful in hockey because he didn't skate to where the puck was. He always skated to where the puck's going to be. So I think you actually need to do both if you're doing social media marketing. Is you need to look at where your demographic is, and you need to invest in those existing platforms because there's a lot of data on what works as well on those platforms. But stealing a bit from Gary Vaynerchuk is that he invests in every new platform. And he'll have a presence, have a profile, he'll invite his audience in. And you know what? He's going to lose on 2 to 3 of those platforms. But getting in first means you're securing your foothold for new markets. Because every time you enter a new platform, a new tool, like say a Snapchat or an Instagram or a Blab, you actually find a new channel or a new market as well. So it's a both. And we'll be getting into that, is how to assess your existing market and also, really, that's what all the advice I'm going to give you is invest in the future platforms as well. So you got another piece for free that I'll talk about. Maybe I don't even have to worry about it.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. Like I say, we just want to do a sneak peek today, so we don't want to give them too much information. And again, we want to encourage them to come for the reason of the the engagement and the experience, and then again getting this excellent knowledge from someone like yourself who's been doing it for 22 years, right? So
absolutely,
and just adjusting along the way, which is not easy at the best of times. So one thing I'll just ask one more strategy question, and then what would you say is the best strategy to kind of keep up on the newer things that are coming along, right? Like even to be aware of them.
Hang out with geeks. Don't hang out with other marketers. No, marketers are, they follow each other around, and it's like, so it really, it is, don't hang out with other salespeople either, because as a marketer, I'm going to do what, Jay Baer is doing right now, because I saw him that he's doing it. But the reality is Jay Baer is learning his next great thing from app developers who are developing the next mobile platforms that no one's heard of. And so I think for me, like when I first started getting into the social media space in Vancouver in a heavy way, I joined blogger meetups, not like the ones that exist now. The ones back then there were like, how to fix your database yourself, or the latest mobile apps, or I'm going to go to conferences about virtual servers and cloud computing geeks and people who are into 3D printing technology, that now, which is mainstream. But the whole point is that for me, I kind of try to hang out with, in essence, kind of bleeding edge nerds and geeks, which I relate to. And I find that if I read their mail and what they're doing, I have a good idea of where the market's going to be in a year or two. And so I think that, yes, like the latest Gary Vaynerchuk book, Ask Gary V, is awesome. I've read the whole thing. Just got it from the other day. And yeah, so I'm following his advice, which is time-tested stuff for marketers. But if I want to know what's going to happen next, I'm also hanging out with outlier nerds at obscure conferences and events and learning what's coming next.
Yeah, no, it's not always easy to find the early adapters and the disruptors, right? But when you do, absolutely, I tend to stay close as well. So I'll just do one more, Shane, which is I've been asking everyone: if you have kids, pets, both, or neither.
Do I?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a son. He's 16.
Awesome.
and he's an Instagrammer, moderately on Facebook, moderately on Instagram. It's pretty casual with his social platform right now, which is a good thing. Seems to be a lot of texting going on. What's happening there, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, and kind of from a hobby perspective, living here in Vancouver, my lifestyle. Someone asked me in an interview the other day, like, what do you do with your money? Like, what do you what's your habits? What's your hobbies? Why do you strive to be successful in business? And my answer was to buy me more time. I guess I'm a time guy. So with that said, looking at some of these vehicles in auto form here, I would say if I hang on here much more, I might change that tune and have to put that on as a priority as well. But that's me.
You could be swayed a little bit. You could be swayed to.
I swayed. My son is a serious car fan. So
yeah,
he can tell me pretty well anything about these vehicles in here, which blows my mind.
You can sway and score points at the same time.
Car still, so that's the thing.
Awesome. Well, we just wanted to, like I say, give a little insight into to who is Shane and what you're going to be talking about. So we're going to just wrap up for those that are watching this, whether it be live or later on. Only 10 more sleeps from today. Today is May 25th. So your chance to see Shane live, helping you with strategy. Come join us at the Center for Digital Media, located at 685 Great Northern Way in Vancouver. And don't forget, for those of you that are watching this, if you go to smmastery.com, if you enter the code BLAB, you're going to get $100 off your ticket. So it makes it only $97 to see all these great speakers. So come and learn about your social media, figure out what your strategy, whether it be personal or for your business or for your employer. Thank you very much, Shane, and I look forward to meeting you in person. I've been following you off and on.
I have to thank Autoform for letting me take over their office/boardroom today.
Yeah.
Record this here as well, and you'll get to meet them and see some of their amazing vehicles actually at the event. So
that's awesome. It gives you a great background. I got to get a better background. Awesome. Okay, we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Shane.